Hey guys, it's Penguin here, and welcome back to another gold making video. In today's video, we are going to be covering 5 different markets that are great for anybody in patch 10.1. We're going to be talking about exactly what these items are, how to actually get into these markets, why these markets are even important, and a few extra tips along the way that not everybody knows about. So without further ado, we're going to dive right in. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and here we go. And to start off strong with probably the most obvious market on this list, we have Dragonflight. Now, to those who don't know exactly what this item is, this is one of the brand new reagents in patch 10.1. And on screen, as you can see, it is quite expensive and also makes a lot of profit. The reason why this item is so valuable is for a few things. First of all, it is used in many important crafts for this patch. Some of them are the cauldrons that are for alchemy, some of them are a few pieces of armor, a few embellishments, and most importantly, the enchanted crest, which is how you upgrade the item level of enchanted gear this season. In addition to them being important in crafts, there's also a limited amount that can be crafted. Currently, as you guys can see on screen, the main way to actually craft this item is through an alchemy transmute. Now, there are a few reasons why I want to bring so much attention to this item. Firstly, this is a great item for anybody getting into gold making, as well as anybody who has a lot of extra characters laying around. Like I said, this is a transmute that is created by alchemy, and the beauty of transmutes is that it doesn't rely on a ton of skill. This item right here, Dragonflight, doesn't have any quality, so you aren't chasing a ton of specialization points, skill, anything like that. The bare minimum is really just leveling up your alchemy high enough to learn the recipe, and then you're good to go. However, there are a few things you can do to maximize profit. If you do pick up alchemy, what I recommend is going into specializations and maxing out transmutation. You do have to put 5 points into alchemical theory, so this is literally a 25-point commitment, and then you're good to go. If you want to go above and beyond, you can also put your points into resourcefulness, which is also another stat, but I would not necessarily force it. It's just if you happen to have extra points, you can go in there as well. Secondly, on top of those 25 points, I recommend getting yourself a tool with multicraft. Multicraft is amazing because you might happen to craft one of these and all of a sudden you gain 4. So that is a huge profit, especially right now. In terms of actually how to get this recipe, it is pretty easy. All you have to do is trade in a Ponzo's cream into the Alchemist Niffin and you can buy this recipe. And 1 Ponzo's cream is 25 bartering bricks. My previous video covers how to get bartering bricks, so I will have that linked down below, but this is about an hour to 2 hours of work on each character, and you have this set up forever. Now, moving past the ease of this item, I want to talk about profit and why this is super good. If we go onto the auction house to just check out the NA region, right here, do a little bit of a search. As you can see, right now, there are basically 6.5 thousand Dragonflight on the auction house. Of course, some people are probably hoarding them in their inventories, but that is not a lot. Going back to the items that actually require this gem, remember that the high-end enchanted crest, which everybody who wants high-end gear needs, requires 2 of them. So let's just say there's 6,000 Dragonflight on the auction house, that is 3,000 enchanted crest, which will dry up for the whole NA region pretty fast. Meaning right now, Dragonflight is actually pretty undervalued. Going along with that, there is actually currently an exploit. Technically, this exploit has been in the game since launch, sadly, that is dealing with transmutes. So people who are taking advantage of those exploits, not going to talk about it much here because it's against TOS, hopefully it is patched, it is creating more Dragonflight than we should have. Meaning, if that exploit ever gets fixed, that just means less and less Dragonflight being crafted with the higher demand, and prices are going to increase. Dragonflight got as low as about 12,000 gold sometime this week, and it's already rebounded to 18,000. It's been upwards to 25,000, and it's moving all over the place on the NA region. And that is without the demand of Enchanted Crest currently. Imagine what it's going to be basically the day this video comes out, or whenever your reset day is. So yeah, if you guys are looking for a simple way to make gold, I highly recommend. To quickly just show you, I do need to purchase some of these. We'll just purchase some right here. It is a little bit of a hefty investment at about, 15,000 gold per. That is a bit scary, I can understand that, but if we just go over here, maybe we'll get lucky, maybe we won't. We will just transmute these two right here. Nothing. And there we go, we got multi-craft. So if we just crafted 2, that is 30,000 gold. Technically, we can say 31,000 gold crafting cost. We just got 4 Dracothist. If we sold that on the auction house, we can turn that 31,000 into 71,000 gold, or save it until reset and make even more. Continuing with the popular items, I want to talk about Enchanted Crest, but hear me out before you potentially skip this part of the video. As most people know, Enchanted Crest are the brand new infusions of power for Season 2. To those who are familiar with the Season 1 crafted gear, these new Enchanted Crest are the equivalent of primal infusions. Basically, if somebody wants the highest item level possible, they need these items. But there are a few tips that you can do to make more gold with these items. Firstly, to anybody wondering, if you haven't picked up these items yet, these recipes drop from treasures and rares inside of the Zarelek Caverns. So hop on your enchanter, go out there, loot some treasures, kill some rares, and you'll get them in no time. Technically, there are 4 of these items, but honestly, the one that you really want to target or hope that you get is the Aspect's Crest. The Matrix 5 as well as the Whelpling's Crest only applies to rare quality blue gear, so many people don't need them, and yes, Worm's Crest is kind of just the standard level for epic gear, but right now the talk in the raiding scene and competitive scene is skip Worms and go straight to Aspects. So if you could only target one of these, at the end of the day it's luck, but really you just want the Aspect's Crest. Now, at the time of recording, technically these aren't available yet. The reasoning is yes, I have the recipe, but these Aspect's Crest as well as the Worm's Crest are not available until Season 2 starts, which is exactly this week, which is why I want to talk about it now. To those who are familiar with 10.0.7, these items work very similar to Unstable Elementium from the Forbidden Reach. Everybody needed 6 Unstable Elementium to upgrade their rings. Everybody is going to need Crest to upgrade their crafted gear. These are BOP, meaning people are going through the crafting order system. They don't have quality, so it's great for any sort of enchanter, and there is no multi-craft involved. The only thing I recommend is getting yourself resourcefulness to proc yourself extra materials, but it's technically not required. The reason why I bring this up is because there's a pretty big argument that these markets are going to crash pretty fast, and that is very valid. Many people have these recipes, and we're dealing with the crafting order system. There's going to be a lot of competition and a lot of public orders. However, the thing that I did with Unstable Elementium is what I recommend for these, and this is what I like to call go to the buyer, don't let the buyer come to you. What I mean is that many people will likely be advertising in trade chat, saying, hey, I'm an enchanter, looking for work, I can craft these for you, send me your orders, etc. The issue with trade chat is, first of all, there's going to be many people competing, and it only goes to people in major cities. Many players are going to get their crest, go to Valdrakken to place their order, and leave. They're going to go continue to do dungeons, they're going to continue to farm rares, whatever they want to do, and they're not going to be hanging out in the major city. So all of those trade messages are useless. What I recommend, and excuse the fact that I can't demonstrate this exactly perfectly right now, but you're going to go into your crafting orders, check to see what publics are available, and then actually go and whisper the person. Now, this is one of the drawbacks right here. This player might be an opposite faction, which of course means you can't whisper them through here. But if you're desperate, you could always go onto an alliance character, whisper them and be like, hey, send my order to this person, and they'll fulfill it. But this is what I mean. Many people, it worked for me in 10.0.7, many people as well, go through this list, whisper people, and get their orders. Just say, hey, I ran out of Publix, but if you send it to me personally, I'll get it done for you right now, and many people will be very, very happy with that. Now, of course, depending on who you're dealing with in your server, you're going to get less tips from some people, more tips from others. If they're providing mats, I would probably take anything, but this is going to be a great market, especially at the start. It may die down fast, but there's a lot of gold to be made on the first and second and third, basically just the, first start of the week. Alright, moving on to market number 3, we have a wide range of items. And if you guys saw my previous video from last week, this is going to sound familiar, but hold on just 1 second. And this is the weekly items that are on rotation. To those who don't know exactly what I'm talking about, there are 2 weekly quests that offer 5 barter bricks each that have caused a lot of market changes. This current week, or the first week of 10.1, the cooking and engineering weeklies are available, which is the stew, feast, and fisher friends. And we've seen stew go from 5 gold apiece all the way up to 4,000 gold apiece, down to 400 gold, and right now it's sitting at about 15 to 20 gold apiece. Same thing with the fisher friends. That's just a random fishing pole that I was selling for 5k a piece, and it had a crafting cost of like 200 gold. And so there are a wide variety of these quests that could be available each week. I will have a list of all of the possible quests on screen and their items. And of course, this is all good information, but you have to look at this a little bit differently and not just the items listed here. What I mean by this is if we take a look at the inscription requirements, the inscription quest requires 30 of the quality 3 shimmering pigment, so okay, just mill herbs to get that, and the second one is actually quality 2 chilled runes. If we go and look at this recipe, what we can imagine is if this is the item that is available for this week, chilled runes are going to spike like crazy. However, that also means that the items used to make chilled runes will also likely spike. For example, the stews required mammoth ribs, and we saw mammoth ribs literally go from silvers to hundreds of gold. We saw that with fish market, all of the other meats, etc. And so if we look at the crafting cost of the chilled runes, we have Serene Ink, there we go, another ink, and we also have Rousing Frost, meaning we might see the frost prices increase as well. Theoretically, if the price of Rousing Frost goes up, that means people are going to want to sell that item. And of course, you can go out and farm Rousing Frost, but also you can craft it by unraveling. There is the Frostbitten, if I could spell it there, right there, Frostbitten Wilder Cloth is a very popular shuffle. That is how you actually create Rousing Frost. So, if Rousing Frost goes up, so could the cloth and so could the gold per hour of this farm. Also, going another step, once again in this theoretical, if chilled runes go up in value, what are chilled runes used for? And, look right here, they are used for missives. If chilled runes get a lot more expensive, then missives also will probably have to get a lot more expensive, meaning right there, more gold if you have them crafted. And once again, this is just kind of a hypothetical, but you can take this with any example. Going back to the pigment, if that pigment is in need, it will go up in value, therefore the herb price will go up in value, and anything that uses that herb will likely also go up in value. We saw that with engineering prices of ores and all of that, but the fisher friend, we saw the meats and everything go crazy, so this is just something to take a look at. Like I said, we can't really plan in the future unless you just stockpile everything on the list, because you have to be mindful of what exactly quest is up each week, but this is a great way because all of these items are super easy to get for beginners to make some really great extra gold at the start of each week. Moving on, we are almost done, but we have another category of items. And as you guys can see, I actually have a Wowhead article pulled up because I don't have any of these items currently as they're not available. But Wowhead posted, the recommended list of crafted gear and embellishments, and we're just going to take a little quick look at all of them. If we scroll down, start looking at these items, right off the bat, you can probably notice something pretty obvious. Maybe it's because it's highlighted in blue and there's a lot of purple, but you can see that this Shadow Flame tempered armor patch is showing up a lot. If we take a look at this item right here, this is one of the brand new embellishments for leatherworking in patch 10.1, and basically every single character is recommended to have this embellishment in one way or another. Now, the hard part about this item, which I will just say this is probably the most unfriendly beginner category of this list, is because it drops from the raid, meaning you're either going to pay a pretty penny on the auction house for it, or you have to be a raider and get it yourself. Also, it's a little bit unknown because we don't know exactly how to get Shadow Flame Essence yet, but this is just a great item to get your hands on if possible. Check your auction house, you're going to want to pay attention to it, but this is a great item to look at. Going back to this list, if you take a look at the other items, of course we have the obvious Elemental Lariat listed a lot of times, but we also have a brand new item, which is the new cloak for patch 10.1, crafted by tailors. Once again, this is also a raid recipe, so once again, you're going to either be buying it or hopefully it drops, but this is just another great item for many, many crafters, especially if you're just getting into armor for tailoring and you're not exactly sure what people want. This is going to be a high valued item. Then, of course, we have the classic ones, kind of like the Elemental Lariat. We also have the blue silken lining, which is available to basically all tailors, super easy. You can see that the amice of the blue is located a lot of times, recommended a ton, and there's a lot of flavor pockets, which is farmable, but this is just a great resource to see what people want. Magazine of Healing Darts, which is a engineering embellishment, is offered a lot, things like that. So the purpose of this one, yet again, is just kind of get to know the market. Taking this one step further is looking at the recommended enchants, recommended potions, etc., and hopping on those markets as well whenever raid releases. People are going to want these items as fast as possible, and if you are one of the only people with the recipe, that means all of the business is coming to you. Whether you do have competition or not, it's going to be great, and these are going to be the items that are recommended to craft and sell in 10.1. Then finally, we have our last market, and okay, I lied just a little bit. We actually don't have 5 markets on this list, we have way more, but my final market is kind of just a rapid fire of suggestions. The reason why I'm rapid firing them is because I either talk about them way too much, or probably many people already know about them, and I'm just giving you a friendly reminder. But up first, we have bags, bags, and bags. Go craft your bags. Many people are creating new alts for 10.1. Gold makers are making alt armies for Dracothist. People need bags. Go make them. Secondly, like I always say, don't forget about cooking. Cooking is one of the most overlooked professions. Yes, the weeklies are going away next week, but that doesn't mean cooking is doomed. Also, just a quick reminder, fortune cookies do still sell. Many people question why they sell because deviled eggs are technically better, but don't shoot the messenger, they just sell. I don't know why people still buy them, but they do, so don't ask questions and get out there and make some gold off of it. Then, for all the beginners out there, don't forget about just basic sets of gear and basic profession tools. Many people are still picking up brand new professions, they don't have artisan metal, and they're just looking for some simple grain tools. So if you can craft some basic profession tools, they generally do pretty well on most servers. Also, basic gear as well as PvP gear, just go and craft those, they do super well. Then, just a friendly reminder that shuffles do exist. We have the cloth shuffle that I mentioned earlier about spinning. We also have prospecting and crushing for gem dust, which also ties to Dracothist. We have disenchant shuffling. We have so many different shuffles that you can get out there and do. Most of them are still doing very, very well. Then, like I've mentioned in many other videos, don't forget about just random reagents. Engineering mats have been doing super well, jewel crafting mats have been doing very well, even basic bolts and stuff instead of tailoring or basic elemental scales from leatherworking are doing very well, so definitely check that out and be mindful. Some things are not always profitable, some days are profitable, some days aren't, but if you haven't checked back in a few days, I highly recommend, you might be pleasantly surprised. But yeah guys, that is it for this video. I know that was a lot of information, but hopefully you got something out of it, and let me know what you are selling and making a ton of gold on. I imagine it's probably Dracothist, but there's so many ways to make gold out there. Let me know, and of course, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I apologize for the longer video, but if you made it this far, I really do appreciate it, and tell me your favorite ice cream in the comments as well. But everybody, thank you so much, and have a good day.